Well, I'm doing it now. The Sportster is changing again. It's been 4 months since my last upload on this bike, and I've been riding it. Once again, my vision for it just constantly changes. There's a few things I'd like to address on it, a few things I'd like to experiment on it. Whether you like it or not, some things are going to be changing. Ultimately, we'll see if I'm happy with it. So let's get it in the garage and talk about what we're going to do. So if you haven't seen the recent videos, I just recently redid a lot of my garage for organization and also to fit quite a few new projects. Of course, I think this video might be coming out before those new projects. Still kind of preparing for all of that. Even this video was kind of unplanned in a way. I've just been kind of collecting parts and deciding with myself what I wanted to do. The bike is still on knobby tires, and the front one honestly is pretty roached. Feathering really bad, and that's mostly just because of heavy braking and how they wear on the road. I thought I'd do a lot more off-roading with this bike when I bought those tires, and I ended up not. So it's now become just a around the town, around Ohio bike, and that's fine because that's what I need it to be right now, especially now that I have my DR and it is much more proficient off-road. But we are going to change the front tire. So what I'm going back to is the original dual sport tire I had, which was the Midas EO7. I think I only had about 2,000 miles on this tire, and it's still got about half of its life left. I pulled it off prematurely because I thought that the Kenda would be an upgrade to this tire, and I don't think it was. The manners of this front tire were much better. By that I mean they're much smoother. I just think the block pattern is a little better for traveling on pavement. I know I need to get pavement or regular street tires, but that's just, it's not in the budget right now. It's not what I'm focusing on. Yeah. So this is a Memphis Shades Road Warrior fairing, and I know this is going to change the aesthetics of the Sportster a lot. I know that. But I want to try different fairings on this bike to see if it helps. I've ridden my wife's Dyna a couple thousand miles with that fairing, and I really enjoy it. It is a good fairing, and I'm just really curious to put it on this bike to see if I'll enjoy it more. Especially if I want to do some more day trips on this bike. I don't know, I'm kind of torn on this. Other things I'm thinking about changing, potentially the handlebars. I might go back to the tracker bars. The Fox rear shocks have been pretty nice. Currently I have them set up on the absolute softest setting, and it still hurts me when I hit bumps, and I can't have that. So I'm debating on seeing if I can fit the 15s back on even. I don't even know if I can with the way the exhaust is made. You can obviously tell right now I have no sissy bar. I took that off one afternoon just out of curiosity, and I've actually kind of liked how slim it is. I don't really carry any luggage on the bike anymore. Yeah, so let's start working on it. So it looks like what I've got here is a headlight bracket to push the headlight out and the whole kit. I want to keep this bike around, I really do, but the actual need for it is just constantly diminishing. I do enjoy working on the bike, I really do, but yeah, it's just that uncertain. I don't really know what this bike will become. Oh yeah, there it is. Well, I got this on and I have pretty mixed feelings on how it looks. So I went and got lunch, came back, and I think I'm not going to use this. Side view, it looks fine. Kind of 3/4, it looks okay, but it's just, I think the problem is the tank is too small. And with some of the modifications I've done to the bike, it clashes too much with everything. I think I might be going back to the Del Rey windshield. I just think that fits the aesthetics the best. Kind of wish I had a little more wind protection with it, but they do offer bigger ones. I just don't want a bigger one for this bike. Not with the direction I'm trying to go with it. So I think I'm going to throw the Del Rey back on. I do have a couple buddies with Sportsters, and even my dad has a Sportster, so I'll see if they have any interest in this. My dad does have I think it's the 4.5 gallon or the 4.8 gallon tank on his Sportster. So that might look a little nicer because it'll be a little more bulged. I'll offer it up to maybe my other buddy Manny, but I think even with his aesthetics, I think the fairing is just too large for what we're going with. With that said, I'll just undo everything I spent the last hour and a half doing. Put the Del Rey back on, pull this front wheel off, and get that different tire on. There we go. Yeah, look at how chewed up that tire was. Looks worse in person. So here's the crazy thing is these actually have just about the same amount of miles on both of them. And I don't know if you can see on camera just how smooth this one is and just how choppy this one is. And these are both supposed to be 50/50s. Well, the battery died, but we've got it basically perfectly balanced out. So that's good enough for me. It's about three quarters of an ounce on each side. Okay, it is a new day. It's actually been a couple days since I've worked on this bike. It gave me a couple days to kind of consider the direction of this bike. So I've actually posted a couple polls on my Instagram on, I don't know, just for fun, just to be interactive with people and kind of share where I'm kind of looking at right now to go with the bike. I do think I'm going to keep it kind of a scrambler. So I've got the DR for the back dirt roads, and then I figure I got the Sportster to mob around on the back country roads. Not really building it for a highway tour or anything like that. It's just not really my style. And if I want to go ride the highway, I can borrow one of my wife's bikes. So it's the privilege I have, I guess, of that. The Sportster, it's going to kind of stay this cute little Scrambler style. I think it will live up to the heritage I've built it to be. And with that said, I am going to go back to the tracker bars. I think they were, I don't know, slightly more comfortable maybe. I might trim them down though, about 1/2 inch to 1 inch on either side, because I do like the narrowness of these, but I like the pullback and the positions of the tracker bars more. I'm going to go back to the 15-inch shocks I've decided, and to do that I have to remake my exhaust. Oh, I also posted a poll on changing the rear fender. I've always wanted to get rid of the brake light on the fender and just go to either like an iron rear end with the short fender and the three-way turn signals, or do the turn signals with maybe like a cool little chop fender and a center brake light. We'll see. I'm kind of torn between the two right now. So with that said, swap these handlebars and we'll go from there. All right, so Manny came over with his Sportster and we threw it on, and we haven't done the headlight adjustment, but just from face value, it actually fits his bike better, we think. I think it's mostly because he doesn't have all his stuff deleted. I don't know. It does look better on your bike. What do you think? You said you're going to ride it home like this?
Yeah, I'll probably ride it home.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah, it's a little wider, but more space for activities.
Yeah. He can make more space for this hot mess going on.
I can make it look slightly less of a hot mess.
Maybe. Yeah, it's too loud. Too loud. And it is another day again. So I think the last clip I filmed, I pulled the muffler off and started it basically straight piped, and I don't want anything like that. It's too loud. So the polls I mentioned over on Instagram, I basically counted those up. I'll put the results here. And I already kind of knew where I wanted to go ahead of time, but I thought it'd be fun just to kind of share what I've been looking at for inspiration and see what everybody else is thinking. And sure enough, a lot of people are actually on the same path as I am. So my main goal right now was to kind of condense all of this up. So there's a lot going on here. So this rear pipe here is actually a factory pipe, so I didn't really have to modify that. And this one here, I basically modified out because it came off of like a Dyna. So I just added some length to it and then added this pipe here. Nice, easy weld job. What I gotta do now though, is I have to move this pipe forward. I'm gonna take this one, create a loop out, bring them down, and then this whole merge collector is gonna go right back there. And I'll have to recut this whole bracket to fit, which that's probably gonna be the easiest part of this job, to be honest. I really like the sound of my Super Trap. It's probably one of the best sounds I've really honestly heard on a Sportster. So I don't really want to change that. It's not deafening. It sounds aggressive. It's deep. Other things that I'm changing the exhaust for, other than to put taller shocks back on, is for some reason when I did this rear pipe, well, actually I know now, it's because I'm running taller shocks. I can't run passenger pegs. So once I redo this exhaust and all, I'll be able to do passenger pegs again, which I don't really have passengers, but they're nice actually just to put my feet different places. The other thing I'm experimenting with is possibly doing like a high bar up here to put my feet up on. They'd also kind of act as like crash bars, but I don't know if that'd be weird. I don't know, we'll see. Just kind of making it up as I go along, like every other time. And the rear fender, those results here. So sure enough, we have a bob fender. So my goal here is to basically mount it about right there. I want to keep this seat, so it's going to be way back here. And I'm going to move my turn signals off to the side. I want to delete the main light in the middle, and hopefully I can figure out the wiring harness and the control module for my turn signals to also make them brake lights, because these are actually three-way lights that I made two-way. So it's all compatible for me to rewire into a three-way light. So I'm excited for that. I'll probably end up having to cut off a little bit of my rear frame too, unfortunately, but it's all good. All right, to get started, I want to throw the taller shocks on, pull this exhaust off, and start mocking up some stuff. And once I get rolling, this should go by pretty quick. So the slider's going back in. Alright, I just got back from dinner, and I think I'm pretty happy with it. Plenty of room for my foot. It's tucked in real nice and tight. Foot goes here. Super close, or it's super tucked in, I should say. So now I get to go through the effort of pulling everything off, and we're going to burn it all in. Posted a poll on Instagram again to see if anybody wants me to paint it white or black, and an overwhelming majority voted black. So that's what we're going with. Oh, and just like I said, I wanted to be able to have my passenger pegs. Plenty of room. Perfect. And I even put my change lighter in back there. All right. Let's get to work. Right, so it is the next day, and these have been curing all night basically. They look decent It's not my best work. I need to get them on the bike and get them up the temperature, and then hopefully the ceramic spray paint will kind of seal in. It's definitely not my best work, but then again, nothing ever really is showroom quality for me.
Got a slight rattle in the back pipe. I'll have to see if I can fix that. Things might have shifted while welding.
It's been a little bit since I picked up a camera, but I started making a bracket up high because that makes me happy. I don't know why. Every time I come out to the garage and I see a high fender, it made me happy. And when I moved it down low, it kind of made me sad inside. So it'll just mount up in there like that. Unfortunately, these are the factory holes from where the brace was. There's not much I can do about that. I think I might have some rubber plugs I can put in there, completely cover them up. And then I'm still waiting on some harness for the rear fender. And other than that, I think the only thing I need to buy is a license plate holder. I'll probably hang it off the side here, kind of like a Nightster or a new iron. I think I'm gonna hang it up there. I thought about the lower shock. I don't know. I need a light for it, and I like the Nightster style. It's pretty clean. All right, so this is the bracket all welded up, and I tried to do some of that chrome paint, but I don't think it really came out chrome. But I've got some nice hardware on there, and it works. I think it looks pretty decent. Nice. All right, well, I think that's where I'm going to call it for this video. It was really productive, I feel like, in this video, turning the bike back into a Scrambler. The exhaust came out pretty good. Really happy that the bike is back in its Scrambler state. This by far is like the funnest version of all of them I've done. It's fun to look at, it's fun to ride, you get lots of compliments. It's just makes me a lot happier to look at. But yeah, it's just a really fun style to do. I don't know if I talked about the front tire or not. Huge difference, way smoother than the Kenda in the front. So now I know like the big blocks are just not the greatest on the road, I feel like. This is a Midas, I think EO7. So in the next video, we will be addressing the rear fender conversion. I've always been curious about doing a rear fender conversion like that, so now I'm going to find out. With that said, thanks for watching. Take it easy.